Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Stylus Meets Vinyl. My name is Chris. It's been a little while. I wanted to come back at you guys with a video that was worthwhile, something that I could show you guys a lot of records. I'm doing a show and tell today. This is my prog section right here. I've got this whole cube dedicated to prog, and it is completely full. I can't fit any more records in here. So I thought it would be a good time to show off my prog section, see what you guys think about it, and also I want to get your input on, I've tried to put this section, to curate this section to be like sort of the best of the best, the essential prog stuff, the stuff that I like, and the stuff that other people have said, hey, these are great prog albums. So I kind of have a little bit of everything in here, but I still am looking for more recommendations. So if you have a look at any of these records, say, hey man, Chris, you're missing this record from this band. You need to have this in your prog section. So keep that in mind while you're watching this. Now, before I jump into this section, I want to define prog rock, because maybe you're watching this video and you're like, I don't even know what prog rock is. So prog is a short form for progressive rock. I'm going to use the Wikipedia definition here. Wikipedia defines progressive rock as a broad genre of rock music primarily developed in the United States and the United Kingdom through the mid to late 60s, peaking in the early 1970s. Initially termed progressive pop, the style was an outgrowth of psychedelic bands who abandoned standard pop traditions in favor of instrumentation and compositional techniques more frequently associated with jazz, folk, or classical music. Additional elements contributed to its progressive label. Lyrics were more poetic, technology was harnessed for new sounds, music approached the condition of art, and the studio, rather than the stage, became the focus of musical activity, which often involved creating music for listening rather than dancing. So there's the stereotype of prog, that prog is like the long solos and the fantasy lyrics and long albums and stuff, which is definitely true. It's a stereotype, I guess, for a reason, but there are a lot of different areas of prog rock. I'm going to be showing records today that are considered just straight up prog. Some of them are art rock, some of them are symphonic rock, but they're all considered in the umbrella of prog rock. So have a look, let's get into it, tell me what you guys think. Okay, starting off with, I don't even have enough room for this one in here, so I've already pulled it out. We've got Alan Parsons Project. This is The Turn of a Friendly Card. This is like, I've got another Alan Parsons project here. This is The Eye in the Sky. Alan Parsons is kind of like soft prog, like easy listening prog. If you're getting into prog, this might be a good one to sort of dip your toes into it, because it's not as wild or crazy as some other prog is known to be. So Alan Parsons Project, number 1 and number 2, Eye in the Sky and The Turn of a Friendly Card. Next up we have Babe Ruth. This is First Base. This album is from the early 70s, 1973 or so. This is a female vocalist, Janita Hahn, and this is a really cool, like, grooving type of record. Sort of funky at times, psychedelic at times, but definitely proggy. This is my only Babe Ruth album. I'm curious about whether there's some other ones by them that I should look into as well. Now, because I'm showing so many records today, I'm not gonna say something about every single record, because I don't want this video to get too long, but I will try to put some little input in where I can. Okay, next up we have Electric Light Orchestra. This is ELO. This is their first album. This first one was with Roy Wood, who would go on to he would leave ELO after their second album, and he would create the band Wizard. So if you know Wizard, then you'll be familiar with Roy Wood. So that's ELO 1. I've also got Electric Light Orchestra 2. This has got a cover of Roll Over Beethoven. There's also a really long one here called Kuyama, which is quite nice. And the thing about these early ELO albums is that They're not perfect. They're a little bit unpolished, maybe, the early ones, and then as they get into some of the albums that they're a bit more known for, you start to really see them sort of take flight and really bloom. Next up is El Dorado. I've spoken about this album before. This is ELO as well. Probably my favorite ELO album. Some just fantastic songs on this one. Really nice concept album. Okay, next up, we're still in ELO territory. This is the one after, so I'm missing ELO 3. This is ELO 4, and then this is the fifth ELO album called Face the Music. This is the one that's got like Strange Magic on here. Another quite a nice one as well. And this is the album that after this album came out, John Lennon himself called ELO Son of Beatles. So I feel like if you're a Beatles fan, ELO kind of took the Beatles off in their, when you get to the weird psychedelic, almost proggy part of that the Beatles sort of dabbled with, ELO kind of takes that in their own direction. So, okay, we're still with ELO here. Next we've got Ole ELO. This is their greatest hits for the first 5 albums. You'll see the ones I just showed there. The only one I'm missing is Electric ELO 3, which is called On the Third Day. For some reason I haven't been able to find a good copy of it. It's been tough. Okay, now we're getting into some of the stuff that people might know ELO for. This is Out of the Blue. This is their double album that they did. This is a fantastic double album. Beautiful, really beautiful sounds on here. I love particularly side 3. It's got a really nice, just like 4 songs that just all bleed into each other that make just sort of like a really nice, I think it's like a sweet, something about rainy day, a suite for a rainy day or something like that. But definitely worth checking out. Next, we have Electric Light Orchestra. This is A New World Order. Also a really nice one from ELO. They're really starting to get their stride here with A New World Order and A New World Record, sorry, A New World Record. And my favorite song on here is called Shangri-La. It's the last song on the album. It's got some, well, obviously it's ELO, so it's got some strings, but a really nice like violin strings that come in. Really, really recommend that one. Okay, next we have ELO, this Electric Light Orchestra Discovery. It's also been called Disco Very before because it's a little bit of a disco spin on ELO, and them kind of sort of shaping their sound a little bit, kind of getting on board with like the disco era and the disco songs that were becoming popular. That's like late 70s. Still definitely a worthwhile album though. Okay, next up, ELO. Still, we got a lot of ELO. This is Time. This is from 1981. This is another concept album from them. It's about a guy who gets swept off into the future. Like he goes like 114 years into the future from 1981 to like 2094 or something like that. And he is pining for his love back in 1981. He's in the same place, but it's just 100 years later and he just misses his love. This is a really, really nice time travel concept album by ELO. Another, maybe, you know, another one that's high on the list for ELO albums for me. Okay, that's it for ELO. Next, we are on to ELP, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. This is Brain Salad Surgery. This is from the early 70s. Really sharp instrumentation on this one. This often is on list of like best prog albums ever. I've listened to this a handful of times, but it still hasn't made its way into, you know, like being one of my go-to prog albums. And that's the thing I find with prog too, is like it's very much about how you're feeling. It's a mood genre. If you're not in the mood for prog, you can't really listen to it. It can be too much. But when it hits you and you're in that mood, it can be beautiful. So, okay, that was ELP. Next up we have Genesis. This is Selling England by the Pound. Similar to Brain Salad Surgery, this is just like, this is back when the guy was still with them. What is his name? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is so embarrassing. Genesis guy. The guy. He's still with them. This is considered one of their best. Also, same thing, like, you got to be in the mood for an album like this. This is actually my only Genesis album, so I'm curious about what other people think, other Genesis albums that I need to pick up. Peter Gabriel, that's it. Oh, geez. Okay, next we've got Jethro Tull. This is Aqualung, and then I've also got Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. This one is really proggy. This one is kind of dabbling in prog a little bit. This is prog with flutes. Flute prog. This one here, Thick as a Brick, is a concept album. The entire album is just one song long. Obviously, it takes place over two sides of the record, but they all bleed together into one long song. Definitely worth checking out if you like prog. Flute prog. Okay, next we've got Kansas. I've got a few Kansas albums. This is Left Overture. We have Kansas Point of No Return, and then also Kansas 2 for the Show. This is their live album. I think it came out right after these two, so a lot of these songs are featured on here. Kansas, you know, Jethro Tull is flute prog. Kansas is like fiddle prog, like the violins and fiddle, like Southern rock. Really, really interesting, like North American prog. So definitely worth checking out as well. Okay, next we've got The Court of the Crimson King. This is King Crimson. This is kind of the prog album that sort of, I think I could get away with saying it started it all. This is from 1969, and this one really kind of helped really get prog on the scene, and King Crimson considered one of the best. This album is considered one of the best prog albums of all time. I love 21st Century Schizoid Man on here, and oh man, a lot of good ones, but there's also some really there's some messed up ones on here that, like, you're like, how could they put this on an album? But it's trippy stuff. Okay, next up we've got, okay, now we're getting into the Moody Blues. Moody Blues, kind of like what I said about Alan Parsons' project, the Moody Blues are like softer prog. Definitely, they've got a lot of psychedelic aspects to them, and prog is also sort of like an offshoot of psychedelic music as well. But I've got a handful. Last year, I inherited, my uncle gave me a box of records, and he was a big Moody Blues fan. So I've got Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. This is also considered a fantastic prog album. In Search of the Lost Chord. This is one that I've been listening to a lot lately. Really, really nice album. Nice prog. Nice, bordering on the psychedelic as well. Now we've got Moody Blues, On the Threshold of a Dream. So these are all from, so the Moody Blues, they released their first album, and then they had a bit of a lineup change, and then they released albums 2 through 8, and those 7 albums are kind of considered the like the best iteration of the band and the most classic, where they churned out the best stuff. So this is all from that era. Next we have Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, also from the Moody Blues. I really like the artwork on these Moody Blues albums as well. Moody Blues, A Question of Balance. Then we've got Seventh Sojourn. This is their 8th album, but it's the 7th of that that sort of string of seven albums that I mentioned. Moody Blues, I've heard some people say before, kind of an underrated band. They're like symphonic rock, symphonic prog. Definitely worth checking out, Moody Blues. Okay, next up, what do we have? Oh, more Moody Blues. This is To Our Children's Children. So those are a little bit out of order, but yes, those are like the 7 essential Moody Blues albums. Okay, next up we've got Mike Oldfield, Tubular Bells. This one's a classic. This was the first album that was ever released on the Virgin label. Mike Oldfield was, I think, like 19 at this point. He has said that if it wasn't for like acid, If it wasn't for LSD, this album never would have been made. So you can imagine it's a little bit trippy. I love this album, particularly side one, which is Tubular Bells. The entire side is one long track. Really, really nice. Finishes off with the Tubular Bells coming in, and like I think it's Vincent Price, his voice, and now Tubular Bells. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, anyways, really, really nice album from Mike Oldfield. Okay, next we've got, okay, now this is the only album on here that you could argue is, well, is definitely not, this is not a prog album. This is a psychedelic album. This is Pink Floyd's first, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. However, the rest of my Pink Floyd is in the prog section, and I didn't want to have this in a different section from the other Pink Floyd. So this is the Syd Barrett era, where they're definitely more psychedelic than prog. Next, I've got Metal. This is 1971, I believe. This has got Echoes on here, which is side 2, entire side long, and then also a really nice underrated Pink Floyd tune called Fearless on here, which is really, really nice, like acoustic tune. Next up, we have Obscured by Clouds. This is Pink Floyd as well. So Metal, and then you've got Obscured by Clouds, and then you've got Dark Side of the Moon, where they really obviously become like huge international band. But this album, which one on here? There's one on here that I really, really like. One song on here that can't get out of my head sometimes, which is Childhood's End. Really love that Childhood's End, which is a David Gilmour song. Really, really nice track. Okay, next up, the classic Dark Side of the Moon. Not too much I can say about this that people haven't heard already. It's amazing, and with good reason, is one of the best-selling albums of all time. Next, I've got Pink Floyd. This is Wish You Were Here. What a perfect follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon, where you release a massive, massive album like Dark Side of the Moon, and you think, okay, where are we going to go next? Like, what's our next step? How can we top what we just did? And this is the answer. Maybe my favorite Pink Floyd album of all time. Just amazing. I think there's only 5 or 6 tracks on here, but so simple yet complex. Just gorgeous. Okay, next we've got Animals. Also fantastic Pink Floyd album. We've got Animals, and then I've got the 2018 Animals remix. This remix is amazing. I know a lot of people had QA problems with, or quality control problems with this album. A lot of people didn't get a good version. This one sounds great. Really well done. Sounds like they're playing in this room when I put it on. Fantastic. So Animals, and then 2018 Animals remix. Next, still with the Pink Floyd, we've got The Wall. This is one of the reissues that they did. The Wall double album. Comfortably Numb on here. Like, come on. Amazing album. Next, we've got The Division Bell. I'm missing a couple albums in between here, but The Division Bell. And then we've also got The Endless River. The Division Bell was Division Bell released in 1994, and then Endless River was released 20 years later with like outtakes from the Division Bell. So Division Bell, also like an underrated Pink Floyd album. Really, really nice. Yeah, just fantastic. Okay. We're moving along. Okay, the next one, I wasn't sure if I should categorize this in the prog section because it's kind of like alt rock, but it's also art rock, is Radiohead, OK Computer. This is from 1997. Fantastic. Whether you call it prog or not, fantastic album. This is where they're just kind of starting to change their sound to a little bit more electronic, a little bit weirder, and I love it. Really, really good. Okay. Next, we've got, some homegrown Canadian boys. We've got Rush 2112, and then Rush Moving Pictures. This is an interesting one because Rush was like about to be kicked from their label, and they had to decide whether they're gonna release like some radio-friendly pop hits or they're gonna do their own thing. And they kind of said, screw it, and we're going to do our own thing. Side 1, 2112, is this big, long opus, complete side. And then side 2 is kind of like Passage to Bangkok and some a bit more friendly or radio friendly tunes. And then you've got Rush Moving Pictures. This is one of the best sounding albums in my collection. This one is pressed by Robert Ludwig. Really nice sounding album. A lot of the essentials on here: Tom Sawyer, YYZ, Limelight. Fantastic. Okay, moving right along. Next up we have Sky. The band is called Sky. This album is called Sky 2. This is like classical prog. So you're going to hear a lot of elements of like Bach and a lot of like Brahms, you know, a lot of old classical composers sort of make their influences felt on an album like this. This is a double album. I picked this up on a thrift store last year. Check out my thrift store blind vinyl buys. I talk about this album a little bit more. Okay, next we've got Star Castle. This is, so I found this album. This was a recommendation from a viewer of the channel, Frank. Thank you for this recommendation. This album is pretty cool. This is like, if you like Yes and you like Kansas, then you're gonna like Star Castle. Great musicianship on here. The singer is the former singer of REO Speedwagon. When they broke up, or maybe, I don't know if it was before or after REO Speedwagon, but the singer's on here. I think he tries to sound a lot like John Anderson from Yes, but so it's like, this is like Diet Coke, Yes. But anyways, yes, this is Star Castle. This is a good one to check out. Very proggy, great instrumentation on that as well. Okay, next up, the Straubs, Hero and Heroine. This is the only Straubs album that I have. It's pretty good. It is, I've been told that it's their proggiest of all of their albums. And I think Rick Wakeman, who was in Yes, I think at some point was in the Straubs, but he's not on this album. But this one is this is a decent Straubs album. I'm not sure if I'll end up with any other Straubs album, but that was a good one to pick up. Okay, next we're dabbling. This is the umbrella of like of art rock. So we've got Supertramp, Crime of the Century, fantastic album. Then we've got Crisis, What Crisis? Then we've got Even in the Quietest Moments, and then we've got Breakfast in America chronologically. This is like the sweet spot for Supertramp. If you're a Supertramp fan, you got to have all four of these albums. Obviously, Crime of the Century is like a fantastic concept album. Well, I think it's a concept album. Really cool. But I recommend all of these albums. They are quite good. I think Breakfast in America is considered their best by a lot of people. However, I think like Crisis, What Crisis, and Even in the Quietest Moments, they're a little underrated. They don't get talked about enough, I think. Okay, we're starting to get to the end here. Triumvirat. This was another viewer recommendation from my friend Terry. Thank you, Terry. I found this at a local pawn shop. Also, this is similar to like ELP type stuff, like really complex music and compositions and stuff. This is German krautrock, Triumvirat. Next, we've got Richard Wright. This is the keyboardist from Pink Floyd. This is his solo album from, I believe, 1978. This is in between Animals and The Wall. He released this. Actually, I think he got kicked out of the band after Animals by Roger Waters. So this is really nice. It's kind of like I was saying, okay, shoot. I was saying Star Castle was like Diet Coke. Yes, this is like Diet Pink Floyd. So, sorry, I got a bunch going on here. So this is, I miss David Gilmour's guitaring on here. Instead is Snowy White as a guitarist. I think Dick Perry, the guy who plays sax on a lot of the Pink Floyd albums, is also makes an appearance on this. So it is very similar to a Pink Floyd album. I definitely recommend picking up if you're a Pink Floyd fan. Wet Dream, Richard Wright. Okay, moving right along, we've got Yes. I think Yes is like, you know, when you think of prog, to me, I think of Yes. So this is the Yes album. I think this is their third album. This is from the early 70s, or late 60s or early 70s. The Yes album. Then we've got Fragile. Fantastic. They're really getting their stride here. And then you'll also hear a bit of like classical influences on here. I think there's even one song that is like a Brahms. It's Rick Wakeman took it from Brahms or something like that. Very classical. Next, we've got Close to the Edge. This is like considered one of the greatest prog albums of all time, perhaps the greatest prog album of all time. I love this album. And the funny thing about prog, I was mentioning that it's a mood type of genre. I remember being in high school, my parents had this on CD. Actually, this is their vinyl copy, but my parents had this on CD. And I remember putting it on. I was looking for, okay, I want some recommendations. I want some new bands to listen to. And I put this on, and I was just like, what the heck is this? Like, I am not into this. And it took me another probably 10 years to get into Yes, and now I love this album. It's really, really good. Okay, still more Yes. We've got Tales from Topographic Oceans. This is their double album right after Close to the Edge. This is a bit of a, I don't know if I'd say controversial album, but I think a bit of a mixed reception on this one, whether it's good or bad. So this is double album, as I mentioned. All four sides of the album are their own songs with their own themes. I think this one's a little bit ambitious. I think it could have just been a single album. I've said that before on this channel, but definitely worth having in the collection. Yes, Tales from Topographic Oceans. Okay, we've still got more Yes. This is Tormato. I think Tormato. This one's not bad. I think it's past their prime Yes stuff, but it's not bad. Still, as a Yes fan, it's worth having. Then we've got Drama. This is, I think, from 1980. This is a new singer. John Anderson's not in the band at this point. This is Trevor Horn? Or is it Jeff Downes? The guy who used to sing, he used to be the vocalist for the Buggles. So think of Video Killed the Radio Star. That is the vocalist on this album. I think he tries to sound a bit like John Anderson on this, which is not a bad thing, because you can still kind of close your eyes and you might still be fooled that it is John Anderson. But this one's not bad. This is, again, like all like later Yes, not necessarily considered the best of the best, but worth having in the collection. And the last prog album that I have, this is live. This is Yes songs. I think this is right after Tales from Topographic Oceans, a triple album live. It's really interesting to see that the musicianship is so sharp that they can replicate a lot of their songs on stage. So really fantastic triple album from Yes. Okay, that's it. That is my entire prog section. Guys, what am I missing out of here? Which one of these do you like? Which ones should I get? Which ones do I need to give another chance to? Maybe I didn't praise some of these as much as I should have. So thank you guys if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you very much. Tell me what you think of my prog section. Thank you for watching. Whatever you do, make sure you come right back here where Stylus meets vinyl. Thanks. See ya.